Alright, what's up guys? This is Dom, and we're here with the ICBA Season 2 quarterfinal matchup versus Dubious. That's his new channel name. He used to be called Deebs. So I'm really excited for this game. So this is his roster. He has Landers T, Sylveon, Delmise, Keldeo, Snorlax, Klefki, all these Pokemon here. And when I started prepping for this team a second time, I noticed that his team is really slow, minus a couple Pokemon like the Mega Absol, the Pyroar, and the Keldeo. And Keldeo is a very predictable Pokemon. It's either going to be choiced or have a Life Orb, or like if you want to be fancy, you can run the Sword Dance set. But Pyroar is just going to be like just a special attacking Pokemon, and Mega Absol, it does physical stuff, but it does have enough special attack to have a nice coverage like Fire Blast and Ice Beam on the special side, so that is something to be aware about. But other than that, you have Landers T at 91 speed, Sylveon 60, Delmise it's really slow, Snorlax is like 30, Klefki it doesn't really run speed because it has Prankster, so that's not relevant. Druddigon's really slow, Reuniclus is really slow, and Lantern's also really slow. So a majority of his team is like really slow. Landers is probably is a very threatening Pokemon. You have Keldeo, which actually did get 4 kills versus me when it had 6 in the entire season. So it hasn't really done much other than that. So he might not bring it, but I definitely think he probably will bring it. Mega Absol is also a big threat because it's a Mega Absol. It does hit very hard. I think it's a little underrated in League format. And Reuniclus is also a really big threat. I'm kind of scared of the Trick Room set. So that could be something that can really be a big threat. Druddigon also is a Pokemon he didn't have our first matchup. Oh yeah, and by the way, I lost 2-0 to him in the first game. So I do have a good sense of what he's going to bring. Snorlax is also a threat because the Berry set and the Rest set are like really like threatening to any team because it's really it's a really good set. Sylveon I'm not too worried about because I have Metagross that can easily switch in. Delmise could be a little bit of a problem, but I do have Crocodile, which makes it not as threatening. Druddigon with the rough skin Rocky Helmet could be annoying. I do expect this to be his Stealth Rocker because his other Stealth Rocker is Landorus. And his only other hazard setter is Klefki, so he might do a hazard stacking strategy, which would not be bad at all. Lantern is probably, if he brings it, it'll probably be Sugar Berry for like things like my Zygarde and stuff like that. So, and here's also my team. So Manaphy is the MVP of the season. So he's probably expecting Manaphy. He's probably going to prep for it. Scolipede I didn't bring as much. Tapu Lele is a big threat to every team. Crocodile, Minior is a threat to sweep. Ditto. Like he does have setup options in Landers T and other Pokemon like the Mega Absol too, so he might be scared to bring his setup because I do have the Ditto, even though Landers T is very good against Ditto. Heliolisk is also a countermeasure to his Keldeo, so it forces him to go for the fighting type move, which I do have 4 times resist in Scolipede and Tapu Lele. Metagross is really really fit the team really well this season. I'm very glad over it. And Persian, it's Garfield. It looks pretty, it likes to take a nap every once in a while. All right, so now that I'm just gonna let you guys take a look at his team again, and then we're gonna go look at the team I brought to battle him. So the first Pokemon I really wanted to hazard stack. This is actually an idea sent to me by James, aka the Flying Bird. So I decided on this speed because his team is this would be faster than Keldeo, his fastest Scarfer. And I don't need Protect, even though Mega Absol outspeeds me beforehand, because I could just click Mega Horn and kill it, and then click Endeavor, and then I'd kill a Pokemon and then cripple a second Pokemon. Before going down, which is okay if I don't have spikes, which I'll take that. That's a third of his team gone over this Scolipede, so that would be pretty good. Toxic is for if I'm in a situation where I have to break a sub, and with Mega Horn, because what I would do is I would just keep clicking sub until I miss a Mega Horn. It's so I would just click Toxic before he goes behind a sub, and then click hit Mega Horn to break the sub, making the sub not a viable play anymore. So after I get spikes up. And the EB spread is, max attack. And I didn't want to put the rest in HP because I wanted my HP as low as possible for the Endeavor in case I don't get down to Sash. And so possible leads, if he has a Pokemon with sub, again, I do have the Toxic that can, Toxic a lot of his Pokemon. I do have Mega Horn, which hits his team pretty hard because Scolipede is a powerful Pokemon. Endeavor, all that stuff. And I do also want to bait in the Klefki so I can get a free switch into my Metagross to set up Stealth Rock, because Klefki isn't going to do anything to Metagross. And I didn't bother putting Earthquake on this set because I'm very confident the Klefki is going to bring Magnet Rise, because I have a lot of Pokemon that can run ground coverage, like Crocodile, Metagross, and Scolipede that can run Earthquake. So I do have Zen Headbutt, Meteor Mash, and Ice Punch. It hits a lot of his team, for at least neutral or super effective. I wanted max attack to deal as much damage as possible, and after the hazard stack, it makes it really hard. I really want to punish him for if he switches out, because Meteor Mash hits a lot of his team neutrally. Zen Headbutt hits a lot of his team neutrally. Ice Punch hits the Lando, which I do have the Sugar Berry for, which is why I do have it, and it's also very bulky, and it does outspeed a lot of his team because he does have Pokemon like the Sylveon, Delmise, like Snorlax, a lot of Pokemon like that you don't really expect to run a lot of speed investment. So I did, creep a little bit so he didn't, he couldn't really creep my Metagross. That was really the purpose of the speed on this set, and I wanted as much bulk as possible on both physical and special side, which 130 defense is pretty good. And the 135 attack with Adamant is going to put in a lot of work, I feel. So this is the strategy there. The strategy for this team is really going to be hazard stack and to pressure him with offense. So the next Pokemon I brought was my Crocodile. Crocodile is going to be my switch into Landorus and into Mega Absol mostly, because I do have the Roselia Berry because it does get play rough Mega Absol, and I want it to be as bulky as possible. So again, with the same the same I have this speed on Crocodile because this is a modest max speed, max speed, but not with the plus nature on the speed for Lantern. So it'll outspeed a large majority of his team. Crocodile can outspeed the Landorus, but it's not really worth it because I would have to run max speed, and I can run an Adamant Nature here, with all this coverage and have HP. I also wanted to have Brick Break on this set. Not only does it hit Snorlax super effectively, it also breaks the potential Light Screen and Reflect that the Klefki could set up. I have Pursuit for the Reuniclus, Knockoff, and Earthquake for obvious reasons. Those are great stab moves, and Earthquake hits a lot of his team, for neutral or super effective. He has Delmise as a resist, Klefki with Magnet Rise, and and Landorus above air, which doesn't, it's okay. I do have Knockoff and stuff like that, and I do get the Intimidate off onto the Landorus, making it not as powerful. So I think this is going to be a really, really good set for this team too, taking advantage of his low speed tiers and adding a lot of bulk and power to my Pokemon. Next, I do have Ditto. He does have setup options with Landorus T, even though I'm very aware of Swords Dance, Fly, Earthquake, which could beat my Ditto one-on-one. So I do have to be wary of that. Snorlax is also a big threat to set up. I really really want to make sure he doesn't set up and sweep me. Reuniclus, another it probably will have Shadow Ball, so I do want to make sure that the Reuniclus does not set up on me all day, and I can't let that happen. And Absol does get Swords Dance, and there's also sorry about that, and there's also Keldeo that does get Swords Dance too. So that I think that is justifiable reason to bring Ditto, and Klefki can Calm Mind too. Yeah. And then here I brought Scarf Tapu Lele. I want, in case he brought Scarf Landorus, I want a hard Pokemon that can outspeed almost his entire team except for Scarf Keldeo and Scarf Pyroar. Even though he probably won't bring Scarf Pyro, but I can see him bring Scarf Keldeo. We have Psyshock, Moonblast, Hidden Power Fire, and Psychic. Yeah, also the speed is to outspeed a max speed Landorus, and HP and special attack. I have Psyshock mostly because of Snorlax. Snorlax has a lot of special defense, and even with max defense, Psyshock still does more. I have Moonblast. Moonblast is for, and also another reason why it's Scarf is for the Psychic Surge. The Mega Absol cannot click Sucker Punch because priority is negated, and I can kill it with a Moonblast, and there's nothing really it could do. Hidden Power Fire for the Klefki is only switching, which does is the only thing which resists Psychic Stab, and also Psyshock for Sylveon too. Sylveon has a lower defense than special defense, so that's also good. And Psychic for a late game scenario, if a couple things die and Psychic does more, I'm gonna click Psychic over that. And I didn't really need a fourth move, so I felt like a situational Psychic move, which would be better than a different coverage move, because I can hit a lot, pretty much every Pokemon on his team neutrally or super effective. So I didn't really think a Focus Blast for Snorlax was necessary, because I'm not going to click Focus Blast, because I'm not going to miss it. I'd rather click Psyshock, because it'll do comparable damage, because I do get a 50% boost from the Surge. So that's the reason why I did bring Tapu Lele. And finally, we have the MVP, Manaphy. I just brought a simple Tailglow set, because a lot of his team is slow. I did decide for this Pokemon to invest in speed, just to make sure I outsped as much as I could, because up to this point I only had Tapu Lele, Ditto, and Manaphy, and Tapu Lele and Ditto that would outspeed. I don't really count Scolipede, because I do plan to have it a lead as a suicide lead, which would put a nice dent in his team instead of hazards. So Surf over Scald, Scald doesn't really help me that much, because it could potentially burn the Delmies, but I have Ice Beam, I'll click that. Snorlax could burn, but I'd win at +3 anyway, so it doesn't really help. Reuniclus, Scald doesn't do anything for. Lantern's immune, so I have Energy Ball. And Dritagun, I have Ice Beam because it resists the Surf, and Delmies resist Surf, so it hits every Pokemon on his team at least neutrally. At +3, it's a monster. It's gonna put in a lot of work. There's Keldeo actually cannot 2 KO unless it is Life Orb or Choice Specs, and it is not a Z Captain. His Z Captains are Landorus, T, Sylveon, and Snorlax. So that's the only way he can 2 KO me, and that's easy to scout out for, so I can know if I want to click Energy Ball on the turn, or Surf or Ice Beam, right? So that's the team. I hope you guys enjoyed. The battle will be up shortly. I don't really know when, but hopefully it'd be up soon. But I hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like, and tell me what you guys think of the team, and what you think you would do better in prep. So we'll see what happens next time, guys. All right, see ya.